I have a few questions, and audience, feel free to throw questions in a minute or two as well. If you have a question, I'd like you to walk down here so I can pass the microphone to you. And also, those who are in Twitter, hashtag AI Monday, you can put your questions there, if you are too tired to walk from behind this way. Sami, what is your guess, or what is your crystal ball telling? What would be like 3 industries that will have bigger impacts of AI in coming years?
So be impacted by AI or
yes, the disruption thing. Mm.
Okay, sure. Healthcare, definitely. Autonomous navigation in various ways. Maybe shipping might be a good idea. Something in the consumer products, but that is where my crystal ball is a bit crowded. And of course, I also buy also Curious AI's vision.
Well, maybe I pass the same question to you. Where do you see, or Curious AI, where do you see that the bigger disruptions will happen soonest?
As I stated, we see it as a veneer through quite a few fields or areas in industries. It's going to be everywhere, but it's not going to be like, now this field has been digitalized. So the harder industries will follow later. And I think I'll have to be slightly skeptic about like healthcare being one of the uptakers of AI due to the regulation and so on. But definitely the potential is there. One field I'd like to add there is obviously process control and heavy industries where there's a let's say like an innovation backlog. People have known about AI technologies for quite a few years, but they've been wary of them for very good reasons. I think they are now getting more flexible and looking into taking some cutting-edge technologies into use.
Thanks. And then one more question from me to both of you. It says here AI Monday tekoälystä kilpailuetua, so competitive advantage from AI. We have smaller companies and bigger companies here in the audience. What concrete things should a company do to take the journey, to start the path?
From Curious AI's perspective, since we are not like a product company nor a consultancy, we see the first step, especially for larger companies, being in control of their own data. So if you are in a position to hire a data scientist or a team who can actually look into what kind of data you are collecting and then start upping the value of that data, then you're on the right path to add some AI on top when you're ready.
And Sami, how do you see where should bigger or smaller companies start their AI journey to become the big disruptors?
Right. So this is very much an expertise-driven industry. So definitely get to know about AI. So educate all the people working in the company, get access to the best expertise once you then know what is precisely what you would need in AI.
Okay, questions from the audience here. Please come closer, I pass the microphone over the sofa. State your name and then the question, please.
Hey, I'm Anna. I'm a junior data scientist. My question is, how exactly difficult it is to implement all these machine learning libraries which are already done? So how much expertise one needs to use these tools which are built? Still some is needed.
The tool chains are getting easier every year, and basically the change rate is something phenomenal. I've been in IT for close to 20 years and I've never seen such a change rate. For example, the field in general has taken up and forsook 3 different frameworks within 1.5 years. So first it was like everybody was crazy about Keras and then Theano and then TensorFlow, and now everybody's into PyTorch when it comes to like applying research to products. So if you're agile in changing from one tool to another, it gets easier every time. I guess that's not a proper answer, but that's like a description of the trend. So it may not be easy, but it gets easier.
Sami, anything to add?
Right, fully second that, but would like to add that the bottleneck then is what to actually do with those tools. And that of course requires a lot of expertise.
Other questions from the audience? Michael, would you do a favor? Check from Twitter. Are there good questions there? Okay, here we have Jouni will have a question.
Yes, Jouni. What is the likely advancements that you see during this year in AI, especially when it comes to the company-based solutions?
As I stated, I believe RPA is the first to benefit. So there's quite a few companies which have applied various RPA technologies, and they've got nothing to do with AI. So now a number of companies have come up with like new terms for an RPA system which is incorporating some machine learning. So that's definitely coming this year. Another thing is the various, for example, chat applications which are now commercialized, productized. So basically even a small or medium business could take up a chat application and put it to good work. There's AI inside, you just won't see it.
So what would you like to ask from Sami?
We've been actually in talks for quite a few years with Aalto, since Aalto is our good partner in developing AI research capabilities. What I'd like to ask is, have you had any approaches from the industry for example, similar cooperations as NVIDIA has with Aalto? Has there been interest in further, like, let's say, shared professionals who would work part-time in both?
Yes, there is definitely have been discussions, but they are always individual cases. So it obviously needs to have the person who wants to do that. I mean, the professor who wants to be have the two roles, which is not the easiest job always. But there are discussions on this. But there is, of course, the other options are that to get access to professor level expertise is that the company can actually fund a professorship, and there are various other ways of working together.
I'll hijack the microphone to tell that, you know, we hired, actually today started the first like a professional coder at Curious AI, whom we try to turn into a deep learning specialist. We try to see how fast it goes if we take somebody who's like really skilled at programming but doesn't know anything about deep learning. So this is a human experiment, and we'll report in a couple of months how it went.
That's exciting. Michael, any good questions? No. Sami, are there other folks from the Finnish Center of AI in the audience? I think I saw somebody here. Can you hands up who are linked with the FCAI? Can you introduce at least these two gentlemen?
Yes, there is Director of HEAT, Professor Petri over there, and Universal Lecturer Patrick Florén, who is also Vice Director of HEAT, Helsinki Institute for Information Technology.
So these three gentlemen, including Sami, are the ones that you can ask of that. So if there would be big company with deep pockets around in the audience, and they would like to do some collaboration with the Finnish Center of AI, what should such a company or person do?
The idea in this center is that we will find together the best possible problem we can solve. So definitely come to talk with us. Let's find a mutually beneficial arrangement.
Exciting. We have the human pilot going on you during the springtime, and we are curious to see what happens in the how this FCAI really starts to fly. It's a rather new team. Any last questions from the audience? Please come closer.
Pia, this is the question I was already asking from Sami. So the question is about the availability of data in general, and what could Finland do in order to secure data, because I assume that will be the scarce resource, and especially when it comes to the new EU point of view towards that. Both of you.
Let's start with Sami.
Right. I started answering that I don't think that there is a silver bullet solution for that. So we need to do many things. And finally, and ultimately, it will be about the competitive mechanisms on why it would be beneficial for the companies to actually give out data or give out data for research purposes or other purposes, and what kinds of deals can be made with that. And what can researchers contribute to the companies by working on their data. But the other solutions will, of course, be that if we can make the regulation as flexible as possible to enable really lightweight kind of experimenting, agile experimenting on new solutions. Even though we will want to be very strict about kind of long-term use to protect privacy, security, and so on, but maybe shorter-term experiments would make sense. The third one is that is part of the Finnish AI agenda, what is called an AI accelerator. It would be a service where data can be stored easily, computed with by partners from the companies and the universities, and I think this is a very good initiative.
I'm actually not an engineer, like full disclosure. I'd like to frame this in the sense of there being data, which is it's never a problem. The world doesn't run out of data. Then there's information on top of that, and then there's knowledge. And to get from raw data to knowledge, it's pretty expensive. And we need to find ways to actually grow the value of the data towards knowledge with the best possible tools.
Thanks, Timo. I think that was the last question in front of everybody. Okay, there's one more hand, so you look so determined that please come closer.
Actually, this is not a question, this is an award ceremony. So Antti Korhonen from Exedo. This award is actually presented, this was presented to Exedo last summer in London because the people who were supposed to get it were not able to be there. Musician won this award for being the fastest growing education business startup in the world in the EdTech X Global Awards. So please, Musician, come and get the award and get the applause that you didn't get last summer.
Thank you very much.
A night of surprises. So I think we should do one more round of applause for Timo and Sami. Thank you. And the very last thing I'd like to mention is that there's a gentleman. Come closer, because this is gentleman called Antti Merilehto. Antti will be a speaker on the next AI Monday. That takes place on 12th of February, and we are going to hear a story and see a new book, a book where the paint is or ink is about drawing. Tekoäly matkaopas johtajalle. So just warmly welcome, and you can buff 15 seconds for your next book, and then we close.
Hi, my name is Antti Merilehto. I promise you to do my best to answer the question of how to get competitive advantage out of AI from my over 100 interviews in Finland, in Europe, in Silicon Valley, and try to do the best way I can.